What's up YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Finance and Freedom. My name is Todd, and today we're doing another monthly update on some of the highest yielding dividend ETFs to see how they performed over the last month. Let's get into it. This is episode 3 of comparing 4 of the most popular YieldMax ETFs. I had some extra money in my Roth IRA and decided I was going to take some of that money and split it between CONY, MSTY, ULTY, and NVDY. I decided a little later to add MAGY, so to mix things up and keep things interesting. So the overall goal is to start at around $550 per ETF and see which one can make it to $1,000 first. Unfortunately, Charles Schwab doesn't really let me buy fractional shares of any of these ETFs. So I got as close as I could to the $550 mark. Don't worry, I'll make sure it's fair and add the extra amount at the end to any that had the upper hand, kind of even things out. As I'm sure many of you know, this month has been completely and utterly brutal. There's been chaos in the market and with crypto. So what's even more frustrating is this was supposed to be Uptober, the month where crypto was supposed to go parabolic and the returns were supposed to be, insane. But turns out that a government shutdown and potential trade war with China doesn't really do great things for the market. Who would have guessed? So while it's crappy to look down at your portfolio and see a big loss, it's just part of investing. You're gonna have to go through those months of some ups and some downs. Fortunately, even though this month was awful, not all YieldMax ETFs actually lost money. So let's take a look at the charts and see where we ended up. All right, so as you can see, here's the chart of the 4 that I started off with: ULTY, CONY, MSTY, and NVDY. On July 16th, I bought this amount of each. So 567 of ULTY, 549 of CONY, 547 of MSTY, and 552 of NVDY. And you can see right off the bat, NVDY started off doing really well, and MSTY started doing really poorly. MSTY, we're looking at almost 24% down in the first month. That's pretty rough, and CONY not doing so well either at negative 12%. So both ULTY and NVDY, did decent, and so I was happy to see that. So let's move on to the next month and see how that did. So you can see on September 19th, I decided to bring MAGY into the mix. And I realized it's at a bit of a disadvantage coming in a little bit late. However, both CONY and MSTY went into the negative, so maybe it's not that big of a disadvantage. Anyway, figured I'd throw it in there for fun. Having a round hill ETF in there seemed like a good idea. All right, so you can see in September, we're in October right now. October gains, you can see everything was up that month. And actually, I added the yellow marker to show that it was up for the month, but still down in total. And so you can see each one did pretty well. CONY went up $61.85, which is the highest of all of them, which is good to see. But Nvidia, or NVDY, seems to be pretty consistent. You can see in October, it is still doing the best out of all of them at 9.94% gains. And that's over the course of July, August, September, October. That's 3 months. So 10% in 3 months, NVDY is doing really well. And ULTY is not too far behind at 8.47%. And MAGY, it doesn't seem like it's going to lose much in asset or net asset value, or the NAV, but it also doesn't really kick off that much in dividends either. And so I'm curious to see how that performs in the rest. I know that a lot of people like that the round hill ETFs do not have the same NAV erosion issues, but also doesn't have exciting performance either. So we'll have to see how that pans out. All right, moving on to November 1st. And that was just a couple days ago. The market has been down for the day, and so these numbers may not correlate, but I decided to go with November 1st anyway, because over the course of the next month, who knows what's going to happen. Okay, so taking a look at ULTY, we're at $605.51, so we actually lost money for the month, but we are still in the green and as a total, and so that's why that one's marked as a yellow. These two both lost, so we went from 545 in CONY down to 514, and then MSTY went down from 431 to 349. That puts us at a 36% loss on MSTY. It is not doing well, and I know that there are a lot of MSTY lovers out there that think, oh, MSTY's going to end up pulling ahead and going to end up winning this. Time will tell, we'll see, but it's at a strong disadvantage at the current moment. Now, NVDY is doing really well. We're at $678.61, a grand total of $125 gain at 19.2% total gain over the course of the last 4 months. That's pretty amazing. I'm really happy to see that it's performing as well as it is. And MAGY is, just trucking along, doing its, slow movement upward. We got 2.3%, a gain of $13.27. Not bad. It's actually in third place right now, and it started the race late. So actually really happy to see that MAGY's doing as well as it is, especially with the market being as turbulent as it is. It just seems to be performing really well. In case you're not tracking, MAGY corresponds with the Magnificent Seven, hence the name. So you can see ULTY also doing pretty well in grand total, $37.86 gains. Not bad. So a net total of 6.67%. What's cool with a lot of these is you still get the snowballing effect. And so from the very first dividend, that dividend is now making money and making money. So over and over again, it's just going to keep on rolling into a bigger and bigger snowball. And so this will continue to pick up speed over the course of the next year, 2 years, 5 years. And so I'm excited to see where this all leads in the long run. All right, so to sum it all up, NVDY keeps pulling further and further ahead. AI keeps pushing Nvidia to new all-time highs. Now, I know that a lot of people think we're in an AI bubble, but the research I've done, it seems to suggest otherwise. If AI continues on this trajectory, I could see NVDY really being the ultimate winner of this challenge. I know a lot of people think MSTY really could surge and end up taking the lead on this challenge. It'd be pretty crazy to see it going from a deep last place into first place. So let me know in the comments down below which one you think is going to win. So if you got anything from this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really does help out the channel, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thanks.